If you feel like life keeps bringing you back to the same moment, the same lessons, and the same pain, this isn't coincidence, and it's not punishment. It means something in you is trying to waken up. And until you understand what that is, life will keep repeating itself in different forms. Now, there comes a moment in life when you start to notice something strange. You realize that no matter how much you change your surroundings, no matter how many people come and go, and no matter how hard you try to start afresh, you somehow end up facing the same patterns again and again. Different faces, different places, but the same feeling. The same emotional crossroads. And that's usually when people say things like, why does this always happen to me? Or why do I keep ending up back here? Now, most people think that they're failing. But what if it means the opposite? What if life isn't looping you because you're stuck, but because something inside you is trying to waken up? This is where the spiral begins. It's not a circle, it's a spiral. Because nothing is actually repeating in the same place. Every time you return with more experience, more awareness, and more information. The problem is that most people don't realize that. They think that the spiral is punishment. They don't see that as instruction. And here's where things get a bit interesting. Because the moment you notice the pattern, not emotionally, but consciously, something shifts. That moment of noticing, that's the flame. The flame is awareness colliding with habit. It's the uncomfortable feeling that says, something in me is being asked to change. And this is where most people turn away. They distract, they numb, they rationalize. Because the flame doesn't feel like peace at first. It feels like friction. But friction is what creates movement. And this is where ancient wisdom and modern psychology quietly agree. In neuroscience, there's a term called metacognition. It simply means thinking about your thinking. But in real terms, it's far more powerful than it sounds. It's the moment you realize, I'm having this thought, but I'm not the thought itself. That one shift, that one pause is the difference between being inside the storm and watching the storm pass through the sky. This is the ladder. Not something you climb away from life, but something you rise through within it. Every run is a moment of awareness. Every run is a choice not to react automatically. And every run is your stepping out of the old pattern into the conscious presence. This is why people feel like they're waking up. Not because they've found secret knowledge, but because they've stopped being run by unconscious patterns. And here's the part that most people miss. You don't escape the spiral by avoiding pain. You ascend it by understanding it. The flame doesn't burn you to destroy you. It burns away what no longer fits. And the ladder is built from every moment you choose awareness over reaction. This is why some people can go through the same experiences over and over, and others at some point rise. Not because they're special, but because they've learned how to observe themselves in motion. This is what awakening actually looks like. Not enlightenment, not perfection, but presence. It's the ability to pause inside your own mind and say, I see what's happening and I choose differently. That's the moment the spiral becomes a path. And that's the moment the fire becomes light. And it's the moment the ladder appears beneath your feet. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You don't escape life. You begin to move through it with awareness. That's the beginning. And that's where this journey truly starts. This is where it all comes together. Because when you really understand the spiral, when you recognize the flame, and when you begin to observe your own thoughts instead of being owned by them, you realize something. Growth doesn't happen by force. It happens through adaptation. This is why Bruce Lee said, "Be like water." Now, water doesn't fight the obstacle. It doesn't argue with it. It doesn't collapse beneath it neither. Water moves around what stands in its way. It flows through what tries to stop it. It adapts, it reshapes, and continues forward, always reaching its destination. That's what awareness does. When you learn to observe your thoughts instead of drowning in them, and when you stop resisting the experience and start understanding it, you stop breaking under pressure. That's when you become fluid. You don't shatter when life changes shape. You change shape with it. That's the secret people miss. Awakening isn't about becoming rigid or higher. It's about becoming fluid, flexible in the mind and grounded in the body and present in the moment. The spiral doesn't trap you anymore. The flame no longer burns you. And the ladder doesn't need to be climbed in panic. You simply move like water. And water always finds its way. That's the shift. That's the awakening. And once you feel it, you'll never experience life the same way again.